Here we go. Uh, Unscripted, uncensored, unedited, live, and in color. I got a little frog in my throat. Not sure why. I think it's because I was making fun of the governor, so they now I gotta pay the price. So I don't have COVID. I don't have COVID. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, aloha to the Mel and Charlie show on this wonderful Monday night. I know we're expecting a lot of people tonight, so I just want to talk store a little bit while we get everybody on. Thank you for joining us tonight. As you know, that's Charlie, the wild Hawaiian, and then Kumu. A remark I posted it on the post today as one of how look at all that look at the I don't know if you can see comments, but they're already going nuts. A living legend. I mean, how else can you say it? A living legend here in Hawaii and just well versed in so many things. I just didn't realize you actually sat on a HTA board for a moment. But I'm gonna turn it over to you, Kumu. You can maybe start us off with some a chant or something and get us in the proper mood, and then we'll go ahead and talk story. How's that?
I had my anti-Genoa music playing behind Kalamaia'u to shut it off.
Nah, nah,
Mai
this,
kākou, ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui a kākou. O au no o tukuman Kawaikapu Hewitt. Eia aula me tuku mau mo'o o lelo. Ku'o ike, no ka ho'o hau oli anono ia o ko pakahi a pau. Ah, ko o ko ho'o komo anono I loko o ki ia mea live no ko ho'o lohe ana. Ho'olohe a e ho'onanea. A e launa pu kākou me ke aloha. Ke aloha o ke akua, ke aloha o ki ia aina, ke aloha a kākou na iwi hana o ki ia aina. I'm going to start with one oli. This oli came from my kupuna wahine. Generations and generations, they have been doing this oli. This is about the legacy and being connected to them. And I have to ask them to come in and be with me with the leo, with the voice, because when the oli come from the mouth of your kupuna, who got them from her kupuna, pili paano, it's connected. And the akua and the aumakua going to come in the front to guide the process. Aloha mai oe ke akua I loko kalani kau I ke alane o ka ko o mai oe ke akua mai ke alane o mama o mai kouli mai ke akua e ola oi ka aina e ola oi ina apua e ola oi ina ali o Hawaii ne mahalo no e ke akua I loko o kalani. E aloha no. You know, that's the old style. The old style is important because it is the tradition. Our time, we never yell, scream, jump, kick, punch when we call the akua. We call the akua with the ha'aha'a, the humility. We call the akua with mihi, forgive us. We call akua with aloha. That's our way. Ke ano o nā kupuna o ka wā māmua, a ola no me mākou. Nā mo o puna o ke lamau kupuna kahiko, a ola no mākou I ki ia ao. We still here. We still alive. We still ola, healthy. And we still get ike to share. Ike maamau no. Common sense. Ike kupuna, the knowledge of our kupuna. Oia ho'i ha. Oia ho'i ha. So here I am tonight to just vehe vehe a kamana'o, just share some thoughts. about some different things. And trust me, different things means a lot of things. You're going to get one fabulous earful tonight. So, Mr. Mel and Mr. Charlie, first question.
Well, before I thank you very much for that, Oli. For those of us, most of us, I think, on the show that were watching, familiar with that traditional Oli. Whenever we had, it just didn't matter growing up here. And we Portuguese. I don't want an ounce of Hawaiian, but the cultural influence in all of us that are born and raised here. I mean, we just so used to that, and it's you got to go to an event now to hear it. For us, uh, our generation, and my kids' generations, my gosh, they just don't do it anymore. So thank you very much for that. I could actually feel it, coming from a true tutu man. I heard you say tutu man
Mm,
in your introduction. We like to know you as a Kumu, but I want to just share real quick why I decided to ask the Kumu to come on tonight. I saw the Star Advertiser article this morning about the travel restrictions considered to be put back in place, whatever it was, and that came right after the lieutenant governor's thing in the morning that said we cannot go to travel restrictions because of the CDC. But anyway, that's not here. We'll talk about that later. But I wanted to read your quote that you were quoted that in the paper, and I think that's a good place to start. So they talk about the real possible reopening of the travel restrictions. And it says, however, Tutuman Kawaikapu Hewitt, a founding member of the Hawaii Quarantine Kapu Breakers, an entertainer, and a former Hawaii Tourism Authority board member, said he's skeptical of Hawaii's travel-related COVID-19 statistics, especially given the daily arrivals to Hawaii. Quote, we have about 900,000 visitors coming in a month, and we are to blame for everything, said Hewitt. You will never convince me that those numbers are right. It's like saying that the moon is made of green cheese. No pun intended. Hewitt said he supports toughening safe travels entry requirements immediately, as well as instituting short term lockdowns and curfews. He also wants officials to beef up the enforcement of Hawaii's coronavirus restrictions. Quote, this is what got me. I'm a great grandfather, father. I want to make sure that everyone survives this. I'm going to support anything and everything that makes us safer, he said. When I saw that, I said, I gotta get in touch with this guy. And of course somebody posted, Mel, he needs to come on your show. I said, help me get him on the show. And then I sent you a message, and within a few minutes I got the response, and it was awesome. And I think you hit a point, or you hit several points that all of us are concerned about, all of us. But take us back to April of last year, March or April, the beginning of the COVID. You did a Facebook Live, which I actually did watch back then. And let's start there, sir. Let's start there.
first, let me say something about what you said about the governor said this, the lieutenant governor said this, the CD said that. Can you all stop pulling your heads out of each other's okole? God damn. You guys' heads are so buried in each other's okole, you guys cannot see. And when you pull them out, you guys see brown. What the hell? Let's see the truth of what's going on. Oh my God. I tell you, that's a lot of bull crap. Listen, follow your akua. You like follow somebody. You better make one good relationship with your akua. Put your faith and trust in your akua, and you follow the akua, and you start to do what's right for you and your family. You like go follow the ha ole, then go follow the ha ole. But when you get the ramifications on your shoulder, then nobody else to blame. Let's be very clear about that. Malama kekahi kekahi. Let's take care of one another. So everybody pull their head out of everybody else's okole, go wash your face, and now look into the light of Akua to be making these kinds of statements. What the hell? We came from the Aina. We know what to do. The smart ones, they know what to do. They get the Ike Maamauno. They get the Ike Kupuna. Oya ho'iha, we can holomua, meka ho'omawa na no. We going to go for it and we go last. Back 2020, when this whole thing started, I came home from Japan. I knew what was going on. I saw all of this happening already. When I came home in February, I already started to post. Everybody need to prepare for this pandemic. But you guys all waiting for here the governor and the lieutenant governor and all the po'ilolo, na mea alaka ilolo. Hey, the kupuna is telling you guys what to do. I was already telling you folks, you guys gotta wear masks. I was already telling you folks, you guys gotta wash hands. I was already telling you guys, ho'omalu ikahale. Stay home and be protected. To ho'omakau to prepare and plan. To maka'ala to be alert. To hana with na'au with wisdom and knowledge. I was already telling everybody that. But who the hell am I? We're so ingrained in government and governor and lieutenant governor and everybody else. Okay? If that's the way it is, go. Go listen. Box for Lolo. Here we go. Go listen. Because as the kupuna of this ohana, yeah, I scold everybody around here. You like come inside here, where you went, who you was with, how long you was with them. Go wash your hand. Right there, get the the, the hand wash. Put the mask on before you go see your great grandma that's 90 years old. You better be sure you telling me the truth, because I'll kick your ass straight back to China where this Wuhan virus came from.
I told you guys, not for the faint at heart. I told you guys, fasten your seatbelts. Straight talk. uh, this is
So
already turning
I
out to
was
be the best show we've ever had.
I was telling people about travel. Listen, you know, taking responsibility is so important for me. We call it kuna. It's a big thing. We cannot let down our God and vaiho inakuliana ipili anono ka ho o malu o ka ohana ipili anono ki ia mea ho o mai ho e o COVID-19 Delta. We cannot let our guard down because already we're getting blamed for everything. So knock that kukai off and start thinking straight with na'au with wisdom, knowledge, the ike ma'amau, the common sense, the ike kupuna. Because 30 years I traveled abroad. Let me tell you what kuleana was for me so you understand me and my waha when I talk. I traveled to foreign countries all over the world. I had to. There was no work for us here in Hawaii. We had to find work outside of Hawaii because guess what? We still got to feed the keiki. We still got to feed the mo'opuna. We still got to take care of ohana. And that was that was a huge responsibility on my back. So I already traveled 30 years with one mask on the plane, on the train, on the subway, on the ferry. Everywhere I went, I had masks. Why? My thought was my family home here in Hawaii. Always, my Hawaii, my ohana, my akua. I was going to do and take responsibility. I was going to accept my kuleana. When I would come home to Hawaii after a trip, I quarantined myself in my own house. 10 days. I don't know what kind of virus I'm bringing home. I lock myself in my room. I lock myself in the house. My ohana was more important. So important. I came in through SARS. I was traveling during that time. Mumps, measles, chicken pox. I went travel through all of that. I went use my ike no eo, my skill and my knowledge, so that I could come back. And I'm still here today with all you guys to tell you guys, kuleana, take responsibility. Think of your kupuna. Think of your makua. Think of your ohana. No go out there hana pono ole, doing stuff that has no pono to it. Hana meka pono. Do things in the order of our kupuna. That is the right way. Ka hana pono, a meka hana polo lei, a oia ho iha.
As we say in the Portuguese culture, boom. That was a boom. I see a lot of comments. They really appreciate the Olelo mixed in with the English. It's just awesome, and the passion and the knowledge. So thank you again, Charlie. I'm not native Hawaiian. Charlie, you native Hawaiian. That had to give you chicken skin.
Well, I have to say this. As a proud graduate of Kamehameha schools, I am somewhat disappointed in myself for not taking better advantage when I went to school. And so now, late in life, I'm sorry, but late in life, I'm starting to realize that my grandchildren who attend Kamehameha, they have learned everything that I should have learned back in the 60s and 70s, which I didn't take advantage of. And so I think what is being said today is that if we go back and be more responsible in knowing who we are and what our responsibilities is to take care of our land, I think that in and of itself would tell us how to proceed, and especially at a time like this when we should be taking care of everything. That includes the people of the land as well. And I
Totally.
think and I think so many times we fall short because there's this conflict, right? We talked about conflict several nights ago of how there's the blame game going around, but really it's about getting the information out because, like Kumu said, we elected officials hoping to lead us, but when they don't want to lead, what are we left with, right? What are we left with? And right now we are in trouble. Definitely, we are in troubled times because this is getting very serious now.
It
Yeah.
is so serious. So let me tell you about the statement about when I was on HTA board member. That is a law that one native Hawaiian, only one, I think get 10 or 12 people, but only one, gotta be the kia'i for the Lahui Hawaii. Only one. That's the law. For 10 years before I was put on that seat was vacant. So all kinds of decisions were made for us, about us, using us. All right. When I got on that board, my platform was this: you take care of the native people, you take care of the local people, they will support and take care of you. I said that about 15 years ago or more. And of course, wisdom, enlightenment, nobody like listen. They like do what they like do for the economy. Now, the economy is a whole nother discussion, okay? Because I still never figure out whose economy you're talking about. But, but till today, now when I went on the board, Native Hawaiian programs had a budget of $50,000. If I remember correctly, when I left the board, Native Hawaiian programs, I and Mr. Rex Johnson built it up to $1.5 million. At that time, there was no Hawaiian language person on staff. I was able to work with Mr. Rex Johnson and bring a Native Hawaiian speaker. So during the time I was a board member, I would like to think I made an impact, especially when I asked them, all the people that were benefiting from the $60 million that were given to them, if I'm correct, that year, what are you guys doing for the native population? What are you guys doing for the local people of Hawaii? And the answer was a lot. And I said, send me the list. I never got a list, just so you know. So, to what my capabilities were back then, I tried my best. All right. So, I have to exit the board because at the beginning of the year, we're giving a schedule of meetings. Well, I guess I got blackballed because those meetings changed every time. And, I had to plan my life around the meeting. And when you plan your life around the meaning and they change them, well, sooner or later they're going to say you're not participating. Well, I think you planned that non-participation, but that's all right. The next thing was happened. The next thing that happened, and this is in response to you, Charlie. The next thing that happened is they said to me, "Oh, Kumu, it's going to be very hard to replace you because you Olelo Hawaii." My response to that was this: I would rather find a person with a good heart to take over my seat, a heart that's filled with aloha, a nurturing heart that can work for the people. Because see, you say aloha, you say mahalo, you're speaking Olelo Hawaii. There's always time and opportunity to learn. Do not let yourself defeat yourself on that one. But I tell you, you get on Hawaiian hot, eh, that out trumps everything. You get the Hawaiian hot. Everything else after can fall into place. Ha, o ya hoi ha, o ya no hoi no, ka olelo o maututu. Malama kako ke kahi me ke aloha nui na kapu'uwai, o ya hoi ha. That's what they said. You know the song e kolumea nui, me ke aloha ka I o iae, a po mai ka ino na mea apau. You see, Al Kupuna knew that. All this kind of crackerjack that's going on. Ah, my goodness. No, 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 no. Everything is connected, but it begins with ola ikaha, ola ikavai, kapu'uvai, ola ikai. You see, everything gonna fall into place. So don't feel bad, Charlie. You get plenty time left.
Mahalo, mahalo.
Hey, Kumu, earlier you mentioned about the personal responsibility, kuleana. How we all have a kuleana. Back in April of last year, you made it very clear. And you're right. You know, leaders didn't listen. They didn't want to believe whatever they should have, but they didn't. So Charlie and I have been really promoting the personal. We call it the personal lockdown. You know that I make a sign I show every night. Personal lockdown, where we don't need the governor's rule. We don't need the governor's order. We don't need all of that. But as you stated, right, we got to take personal kuleana for what we do. We also have to have a government that takes responsibility for their kuleana, which is the overall uh, protection of their people, which are us. One of the things that you mentioned in your quote was about the Safe Travels program, which we call the Unsafe Travels program, because we know, and there is no dispute. We've had enough experts on our show to prove to us that the Safe Travels program is not working. But one of the things that we know works, and you mentioned it, was the is the we need to beef up Safe Travels. We need to put back testing. We need to make sure we screen everybody, not just tourists, but locals as well, that's coming back. We need to screen them, make sure they're virus free before we turn them loose. That's how you beat this thing. We have Lambda out there. We have these new variants that are coming in. And we are told that we cannot do that because the CDC said it's okay to fly without a mask or without a test, without a test if you're vaccinated. And we know that's not true because the CDC, I'm just going to read it. The CDC clearly says fully vaccinated travelers do not need to get a SARS-CoV-2 viral test before or after domestic travel. That's where the lieutenant governor stops. Right after that, get on comma, and it says, unless testing is required by local, state, or territorial health authorities. So we know already that was a lie. In that article today, Gary Yamashiroya, Special Assistant to the State Attorney General Gail Connors, said there have been challenges to Hawaii's COVID-19 restrictions. Quote, however, as a general matter, we don't believe these cases have any merit or will impact our COVID response programs, he said. Travel requirements and other restrictions aimed at stopping the spread of COVID are gaining traction again in the US and elsewhere. So we know what needs to be done, Kumu. What are your thoughts? I mean, you what are your thoughts as far as what we should do next? I mean, you said it in the article, but I love it when it comes out of your mouth.
So, this is what really bothers me about the CDC and all of this bull crackerjack that's coming out. COVID 19 started in 2019, if I understand correctly. We started to experience it in February, March, April of 2020. So, a year more or less, and the CDC and everybody else knows everything about this disease. How the hell, just a year ago, you guys never know Jack Cracker Jack about this disease? And now you folks tooting your horn that you know everything and what we need to do. I'm not gonna follow you guys. That's like the idiot following the idiot, the lolo following the lolo. Why would I do that? I would trust my own kupuna, my own pule tu akua to do what I need to do. Because you guys just said you guys don't know nothing about this ma'i. 1 year later, you guys know everything. No, you guys don't know nothing. You guys play one guessing game. And then you trying to steer us with that guessing game. Now, about the tourists in Hawaii, 900,000 plus come in every month. And they continually call it community spread. Well, I'm going to educate you guys tonight. Please, it is community spread because the tourists coming into our community and spreading the ma'i. See, the newbies, the military, and the tourists coming in to our stores, our community stores, into our community spots, into our community restaurants, and nobody getting tested. Nobody know what the hell is coming in or going out the door. So I finally got it. Let's put it back in their lap. Yeah, you're right. It's those communities that are infecting this community that for the longest time had COVID numbers in the single digit once we decided to take over and responsibility for what's going on. And I say we still can ho'omanavanui, be patient, and come together and create one plan for Allah Hui. Because listen, nobody thinking about us. Us, the local people, us. And this is where you talk about economy. Excuse me, what economy are you talking about? Your economy? I've been here forever. We come from 20 generations. We've been feeding this economy. We're not the newbie that just moved in and bought a house. We're not the CEO that was hired from outside, not inside of Hawaii, to direct these programs. We are the people that no matter what happens in Hawaii, we're the ones going to pick them up. We're going to pick them up because we have relationships. Relationship to the Akua, to the Aina, and to the people. And that is the truth. So you bring somebody because, oh, they're good at where they were, to now to be the executive director of a business here. What the hell is wrong with that picture? I'll tell you. They're not from here. They never grow up here. They don't know our way. They don't know our lifestyle. They don't know nothing about us. Hey, they don't even know we have a Olelo Hawaii. There we go. So we get the wrong people guiding the process because they don't want to pilina the connection to the Akua, the Aina, and to our Lahui and our Keiki Oka Aina, the children born from this land. You see? So the 900,000, yeah, they brought them into our community and they still spread them in our community. You know, the military code of ethic to protect the people. Why you guys at all the raves? Why you guys at all these underground parties? Why you guys at our beaches? Hey, Mokapu, get the best beautiful beach you ever saw in your whole life. Why you guys not go over there? No, you gotta come into our communities and bring the infection. And we had 5 ohana already that passed in this pandemic. So don't tell me this is fake. Because when going to hit you, yeah, your waha gonna be pehu. And then you're going to know and understand what the kupuna was trying to tell you guys from the beginning. So do what you like. Box for lolo. Go follow the lolo. No, take the kuleana, that's fine. But your waha and your choices going to be your outcome at the end. Your waha and your choices, namia I koho ia, that's going to be yours at the end. Ah, oya ho iha.
Woo! Hard to follow this guy, Charlie.
Well, I
Thank
think
you.
if we, most of us who have followed Kumu for years, even in his melee as well as his hula, there's always a story to be shared and told. And we all know that when it's done right, it's like trying to learn the Bible. Some people can readily accept it. Some people get a hard time because it's a lot of reading, right? And so is with the language, and so is with the hula. And if it comes across, and we accept it, and it comes in real deep, then we know that it's the real deal. But I think what Kumo is saying now is that we have to take stock in our own interest for our own safety, because people out there and we've said this before, Mel. We said this before. We hear conflicting. I mean, a good example of what you said about the CDC is, you remember now they tried to levy that moratorium for renters from their level. I didn't even know they could do that, and I don't think that flew, right?
Well, listen, Charlie,
Yeah.
a 900,000 coming in a month, they get some kind of white magic because they're
Yep.
COVID free. They're not getting COVID. They're still coming in. And I like to know what kind of white magic they get that allows them to keep coming in. And we cannot say it's them or not. But what we can say is, yeah, looking back at everything when they were not coming in those exuberant, huge numbers, we had less COVID cases here in Hawaii. And that
Exactly.
is the truth. That is the
Exactly.
truth. And so we have to reflect on that. And like I said, yeah, you're bringing them into the community. That's for sure. That's for sure. Now, getting back to when you folks were talking about leaders, you see, leaders, you're talking about, apples and oranges because the system of America is different from us. We have a whole different system, you see, because our leaders are chosen by the Akua. The leaders then have Kuleana to be Kamakua Aloha o Kalahui. They have to be the beloved parents of the Lahui. This is very uniquely different. Ko kea kua haia mio. God going to choose those people to represent Him, not the government. Ko kea kua haia mio. Ko ke ka huna haikupua. Then those people chosen by the Akua will be the ones to work with, teach, and guide the people into the pono of our kupuna, you see? And too much everybody on social media. Everybody like Facebook, Instagram, they like dick docking, tweets that twatter, and snatch chat. What the hell is all that? That's only idle gossip. Grandma would say that's how valao. How valao anano? Ah, hanano me kaulima. Makaike, makahana no kaike, inaale oi hana me kaulima, aale lo ano ika ike. You're not gonna work with your hand, you're not gonna get any ike. Makahana no kaike. So everybody, and you all on these social applications, you making them rich. You only feed it into their fantasy of being millionaires. So oh, too much Facebook, too much Instagram, too much dick docking, and tweets that twatter and snatch chat. Enough already. Let's come home with our ohana and let's be real people and let's deal with this in a very real way with the ike of our kupuna. None of this crackerjack. Oh, this thing that fall out of the pu'okole, they call them the kukai. Enough, kukai. Enough.
I don't even know why I'm laughing because it's so serious. But you deliver it in a way that's. I see a lot of people enjoying your comments, but yeah. So I mean, the question is like, where the heck do we go from here? How do we? I mean, aside from doing what we need to do, and again, I think we have a lot of local people that are still taking this thing for granted. Totally underestimating the power of this virus, and yet every day we see people die, and maybe it's one today, four. Maybe some people honestly think that's not a lot, unless it hits your family. When it hits you, Ohana, then you feel them. How do we get our leaders to? I for me, honestly, Kumu, I don't understand. I don't understand how they can go through press conference after press conference and tell us, a lot of this is going to be dictated by the capacity at the hospitals, but we already know that the hospitals are maxed out, and yet they want to wait another 2 weeks or whatever. I'm afraid that we're going to lose a lot more people. How do we? I mean, the people have been yelling, screaming. Doctors and nurses have been yelling and screaming. First responders have been yelling and screaming. Everybody's been yelling and screaming. We're just not being heard. What's your advice? I don't. I just don't understand why.
First and foremost, the next election year, all you bucks lolos, no pick people that promise you one trip to the moon and back. You go study the candidates and you look at already what these people are doing for the communities and for Hawaii with aloha. Know that old saying, the politicians going poor and they come out millionaires. Perfect example here. So look for people who are already serving the community, who love the community, that are connected to the community. And then that's the people you koho. Because listen, you and try squeezing water out of one rock, the impossible. Well, how do you think people go learn all this if they wasn't raised that way? You see? And we're not only speaking about the only we're speaking about the law. Some of our own lahui no understand. Ala no la ko ka mo popo ano no o ki ia ha ona po e kupu na ki ia ikke no e o la ko. They don't understand. You see? Somebody will tell them you cannot beat them, join them. So you go follow the ole. What about your law? Go follow your law. That's where the pilina is. The malama ike akua, the honor and respect for our akua. Malama ika aina, the honor and respect for the aina. Malama ina kanaka ke kahi, honor and respect for one another. Because listen, politicians going to come and go. Stop blowing smoke up their ass that they're that great. God is great. Akua is great. Stop blowing smoke up their ass like they're the kamakua aloha o kalahui, like they're the beloved father of our nation. Stop that. See them for what they really are. Awake aloha e.
Well,
Charlie, real quick, today, and I don't know, Charlie, you was busy working today protecting our our people over there at the airport, but I watched Blangiardi's press conference. I watched the governor's two press conferences. I don't know if you watched it, Kumu, but it was incredible how one by one went up to the podium and told everybody how good a job they're doing. I don't know if you watched it, but I'm like, are they aware that every day is getting worse? But they didn't hesitate to pat each other on the back and say how wonderful. I haven't seen so many ass kissers in a long time. Let me just say it that way.
Oh,
There was a lot of butt kissing going on today, and yet it's like the football coach that get their ass kicked every week, and the coach comes in after you got your butt kicked 47-0 and come, hey, you guys, we did a great job. We did a great job, guys. That's kind of how I saw it today. It was, guys, you guys
so,
open your eyes.
so, you know, when you give people power, Grandma would say this. When you give people power, the Ha'ole or the Hawaii, the Haloa, you have to be very careful. because that power goes straight up the puka okole, hits them straight in the brain, and every time they talk, shit fly out. Lele ke kukai I o I anei. So we would put them there, and if they're not doing a good job, find somebody that's going to do a good job. Because if they honi I ka puka o pihi o ka okole, well, then let them do that to one another. But we're dealing with real things here, real lives here. We're dealing with our families. And that's very, very important. So, again, you guys got to be careful. Give them the power straight up the puka okole, hit the brain. And every time they olelo, all kukai helele o ianei. Truth. What we want is truth. And we need transparency. We like no. And the fact that you're not being transparent with us is saying I'm hiding something. Because Ike Kupuna can see right through that line. You guys hiding something. What you guys hiding? You see? You see, get two kinds of way of learning, you see? So one kind of way, is education. You go school. That's the alahaloa. That's the broad pathway. And you can get one degree after 2 years, one other degree after 4 years, and maybe one other degree after 4 more years. Okay, you're going to get lesson, you're going to get ha'avina. The other way, different from the alahaloa, is the alahaiki. What is the alahaiki? The alahaiki is the narrow path of dedication, commitment, connection to your kupuna. They're going to teach you everything you need to know. Not in 1 year, not in 2 years, not in 10 years. We call that a lifetime. And the outcome is enlightenment and wisdom. Education versus enlightenment and wisdom. The process of the kula of, and of course, our own traditional way, where we no more avina, we no more lesson, we ho'opili. Ho'opili a pili pa'anom na po'ekupuna. That's how we learn that tradition. So, at one point, the Lahui got to wake up and ask themselves what they like, where they like be, because you know what? Everything we did in the past not working yet. We need to find somebody that get the ike that can help us move into the future, into the Hawaii that benefits all of us. Together, we can make this happen. We can make it happen. He Evie, the bones of my bones. He I'o. Flesh of my flesh. He koko. Blood of my blood. We are connected and ingrained in Hawaii for the 10 generations behind us and the 10 generations in front of us. No fall for their antics. And the pukaka, no fall for that. We got to strengthen ourselves. We cannot tell a government strengthen me. We got to work at it. How are we going to be able to acquire this mana that we need? You know, if I'm going to run for governor, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to create one precedence in Hawaii. I'm going to be the first governor that can work for aloha. Aloha for Akua, aloha for our aina, and aloha for our people. I don't like partner up with anybody. I don't need no union support. I don't need no private people giving me money, but I need my people to support me. I don't need no political party because that's your party. That's not my party.
Mhm.
And as long as you have these supporters, you got to pay them. You got to give back. I like work for the people. I like the people choose. And then we can go forward together to make Hawaii the Hawaii our kupuna knew and understand. The Hawaii that we know and love. The Hawaii that is founded on love and respect. The Hawaii that I know is about malama kupuna, not only with words, with actions. Malama kako kikahi kikahi. Yeah, thank you for putting that up. But you see, I come from a whole different place. You know why? Noni pay me. Noni pay me a damn dime. Social Security already paid me.
There's a lot of Roxanne Freitas said, Mel, tell him I said run for governor. And that's in addition to about a dozen others that I could see. These comments are going way too fast.
Because you see, we can do this. But we need one person that love the people, that can work for the people, that will put the person there first. You cannot put the tourists first. They never vote for you. Your own people will vote for you. Come on, wake up, Hawaii. Put the Keiki Aina, put the Lahui first. Let us build. Let us build. And no matter what happened about this economy, no way. We can build. We can do. Oya ho'iha.
I've always felt, and I saw this from early on. I looked at it as an example. Some of these boards, yeah, they serve on these boards. Those who don't get paid serving on these boards, they have a tendency to do a lot of things out of love, and they move in a right direction, I feel, because sometimes money, it gets in the way of their thought process. So when I see those boards where they have volunteers that says, hey, we just like give of ourselves, and if we do good, fine. If we don't, then we get removed. But you see that a lot of people, they give from the heart, right? So you really cannot fault them. They're trying their best.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're saying, Kumu, is that if you give from the heart and you're doing for the people, that will transcend towards everybody understanding, hey, we're on this right path, I believe. But then, like now, government, everything is who get the, I just saw the lieutenant governor's report that bank that he has going into the election 2022, I guess he leading the pack because all that money, right? So the question now becomes, well, who bought into it and what's going to be owed back? That's always the question, right? Whoever puts money into that big pot, who does he
Because
have to owe back?
all the people that make contributions are now owed back, you see? So they're buying, yeah, their place in the decision making. And we all know that. It doesn't take a dummy to figure this one out. And so, I don't like have those connections because I like put the people first and foremost and what is good for Hawaii first. I served on the HTA board. Every time they gave out gifts, I wouldn't take a single gift. We weren't getting paid. I was dedicated to the people of Hawaii to try to make changes. And I still am. Malama Hawaii was something I posted on Facebook a long time ago. It became HTA's new focus. Malama Hawaii, I have video of me talking to Senator Revere and other senators about we're going to stop aloha, not going to do aloha anymore because we got to do malama. Everybody got to honor and respect. Malama akua, malama aina, malama kako na iwi hanau o ke ia aina, a mena keiki o ke ia aina ke kahi ke kahi. That's where we have to move because it is the time to move in a new direction. We have been putting too much trust. The trust doesn't belong. When you go on Facebook and tell everybody you're getting one divorce, Facebook, when did Facebook become your grandma or grandpa? The people you should be going to see and talk to them. Facebook is not your family. Facebook is their family. That's not our family. Here, we get strong connections. What the hell? Ho! Ku kapaila no. Kapo e lolo. I ola I ki au huli huli nei. So much piles of shit. Au e ki aloha e. We got to get out of that routine and get back to our pono. Not hana me ka pono ole, hana no me ka pono. Doing what's right.
Wow. You guys feel like you guys stay in school. Like, you know what is, life moves so fast for many of us. Yeah. In fact, probably all of us. It just moves so fast. And when we hear, when we hear you speak, and there are many other kumu that come out and share, involving the culture and what we should be doing. That triggers the memories from when we were young. and how it makes so much sense. But yet we admittedly forget. We forget the daily life, the daily ups and downs we go through every day. We forget about those things. Now, many of us, we don't have our grandmas and grandpas and moms or dads, but we remember back then when you had a crisis, an issue. In fact, I was talking to my cousin today, and she was going to the graveyard to put flowers on her mom's grave, and I said, right now, last week was a time that I really need my mom, and she's not here. But when I hear you speak about why are you listening to Google and Facebook when you should be going to your kupuna, it just makes so much sense, and that makes me realize how we have kind of lost touch with that and taken it for granted.
You see, that disconnectedness started way back when with Aina and Olelo and Ho'ohanohano, with everything, because that was their plan, to disconnect, disenfranchise, disrupt, and ultimately destruct. But we will let them do them. We gotta take that all back. We gotta say no. This not our way. I don't need follow you on Facebook. I don't need follow you on Instagram. I don't need follow you on TikTok, Twit, Twittering, and the Snatch Chat. Why I gotta do that for? Why should I even be there? That has nothing to do with me. My kupuna, my olelo, my Hawaii. But oh my God, everybody's so ingrained. They're addicts. Be one addict to your kupuna. Go be one addict to your kupuna or your makua, to your ohana. Because, like I said, social media, whose social media is that? It's not my social media. Oh, hell no. That's some invention of somebody that bought big, big land on Kauai. Why are you going to follow that? They're not going to follow that.
Whoo! Deep. There's a lot of comments. I hope you can go back and rewatch the thing on Facebook. You can see all the comments. There are a lot of good comments. They really love the Snatch Chat. A lot of
They're
people.
going to censor me pretty soon. They're going
Yeah, we're gonna get. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys. If we lose the feed like we did the last time, jump right on YouTube. We're live on YouTube as well. They cannot take Facebook and YouTube, but so
I
far
want to
so good.
share. I want to share about this journey of age. It's a wonderful journey. And so throughout my life, I was taken by Kupuna to be trained in various traditions. So I learned first from my grandma, Wahini Ali Ikanae. Kila, kila manava, ko unohoa na me lako, na kupuna o ke ia aino o he e ia. Mauno ka olelo hawa I ke kahi. O ia no, hanai no lako ia o me ka olelo Hawaii. Aloha no lako ia o me ka olelo Hawaii. So during that time with my grandparents, Hawaiian language, it was spoken on a regular basis. So we saying about 1954. All right. Then I went learn from other teachers. So Auntie Emma DeFries came to my grandma and asked her to take me so they could train me in her lineage and her heritage. Same with Auntie Io. Auntie Emma was the intermediary with Auntie Io. We'd fly up to Kona. There were so many people. Ike aku ike mai, recognize the people that shared their mo'olelo, their story and their histories. And as you recognize them, as you tell your story, you're recognizing yourself in the mo'okuauhau, the genealogy of these kupuna no eau, wise, skilled elders. And that's very, very important because this knowledge comes from a very ancient place. They were looking for legacies. I happened to be at the right place at the right time. So I love to share the story about all of them because without them in my life, without them nurturing the process, yeah, this may have not been possible to reflect that kind of ikinoea no na po e kupuna, having the opportunity to live with them, talk to them, hear the stories, ho'opili, follow them, mimic them. That's the learning process. So what happened was, for the longest time, I was working abroad, and of course, in this kupuana, in this growth process, yeah, the kupu kekeiki ikaopio, the child will grow up to become a teenager. Kupu kaopio ikamakua, and the teenager will grow up to be a parent. Kupu kamakua ike kupuna, and the parent eventually becomes the grandparent. So in this kupuana to become kupuna, I went fulfill all of that responsibilities. You see? So when did the time come? And I want to ask my kupuna wahine, when do you know when you become kupuna? And she looked at me and she said, when you become me. When you look in the mirror and you see me. When you look in the mirror, you see my eyes, my nose, my mouth, then you're there. That is your time. Vaku ponokeia. Oya ho iha. That no come with degree.
Whew. Ike mai, kokua aku, kokua mai. Pela e hola na, sorry, ka no, this thing, the
Ohana.
comment is scrolling. Yeah, no hona, ohana, from
Yes.
Kale Kawi. Kale
Ole.
Kawi, good friend of ours, master of Olelo as well. That it's just, that's what people say, especially a lot of visitors that come here, people that move here, they say, Hawaii is so different. Hawaii is so special. My two kids live in Oregon. They say, Dad, it's not like home. It's different. It's just, and no one can really figure out why. I'm amazed at how you and before we close, I want to kind of you give us a, you're like I say, a living legend, done so much. But one of the things you do, you're a teacher. You've been a teacher forever, and
Yes.
you when you speak the Hawaiian language, you right there you follow up with the translation for those of us that don't understand, which is amazing because we can follow, and that is so important. But
I
good
have
good
to do
stuff. Whew.
I have to do what I need to do to educate. And I don't want to leave anybody out. Because as a Lahui, we have to move as one people. Everybody is Ohana. We're Ohana in the Iwi, the bones, Ika-io, the flesh, and Ikekoko, the blood. Not in skin color, not in anything else. No kaaina no kako, no haloa ke kalo, no haloa ke kanaka. We come from the land. We're born of haloa ke kalo and haloa ke kanaka. O ke ia mau keiki nā keiki a ho'ohoku kalani. The sons of ho'ohoku kalani. No vākea kalani no papa ka honua no ka luna ko luna no ka lalo ko lalo. They the grandchildren of Papa and Vākea. That is our uniqueness. You see? We gotta get off of this damn horse that we on, thinking that we brownies. We're not only brownies. Oh my God. I know one story about down here in He'eia, where the Akua went go and create the first man. So they went take the lepo. First they went take ke onekea, a kahakahaea. They went take the white sand of kahakahaea. Then, bali bali no, mekalepo alaya, they would mix them with the red dirt, kalepo ele ele, the black dirt, and the lepo uli uli, the blue dirt. After that, bali bali ti mau mea, na puku i akua, ma kila aina o mololani at mololani here at Mokapu. Then na ke akua kane e kau o hono ki ia ki i, kou i luna, no ka ea o ka aina oi. Kane said, stand up. You are the sovereign with this land. You have that kuleana to stand. How many colors? Four. 4. Don't let anybody else tell you folks what color we are. The story says from the white sand, from the red dirt, from the black dirt, from the blue dirt. We get the ili uli, the ili ele ele, the ili ehu, and the ili kea. Wake up, Hawaii. No discount. Count everybody in the lahui. And more than anything, malama ike akua. And when you malama your kupuna, you honor and respect your akua and your aumakua. When you malama your aina, you malama and respect akua, aumakua, and kupuna. And when you respect one another, you respect the aina, the kupuna, the aumakua, and the akua. Oya ho'iha.
I feel like we should be on KGMB Channel 9 or Channel 4 or Channel 2. I think the whole world needs to hear this, man. What do you think, Charlie?
Amen on that. Amen on that.
You know, I was Kuma, I was going through Facebook today. I mean, I'm sorry, YouTube today, and came across Sean Na'au YouTube music and Velo Mauloa e Ku'uhai Hawaii.
Yes.
And I clicked show more so I could read about this. It's a beautiful song, by the way. It is. I see published by you. I was thinking this guy, it's just by coincidence, and I know nothing happens by accident, but I see published by you. What I mean is published means did you write the song or because you have written many songs and I saw you judged at the Merry Monarch. I mean, you've done so much in Hawaii. Can you give us a quick rundown on and not I think a lot of people here that maybe don't know you. I only know you as like Charlie. Charlie knows you a whole lot more than I do, but we know you as an entertainer, as the Kumu. If you haven't seen this Kumu dance the hula, I mean, it changes you, man. But what's the story of you, my man? What's the story of the Kumu?
So, growing up here in Hawaii, we learned hula very, very different. We never danced for the crowd. We wouldn't dance for the akua. Every hula, kahiko or awana, was hana ho'o hano hano. It was a ceremony. It was a ritual. And we always give the malama to the akua. So when I'm dancing and people watching, and they're not ma'a to that kind of style, where your focus is the akua, they're not going to understand because we too ma'a to the kick, the punch, the slap, the whatever, the yelling, the screaming. That's not how our kupuna was. So we've lost that connection to the truth of our oli and our hula as performed by or taught by or the legacy of those kupuna. So although I was entertaining, I was also a school teacher at the same time. At the same time, I was a father. At the same time, I was a son and a grandson. I had so much kuleana to carry on my shoulder. Till today, my 90-year-old mom lives with me. My grandchildren stay over here, and I go work. And I ku'ai I mea lole, ina mea apau no ka malama ana no o ka ohana. I go work, and I buy the food, and I buy the clothes, and I buy everything the family need. I go do. And you know what? I'm happy to go do it. I like be the workhorse. I happy to go work. I happy because when I see everybody smile, that makes me happy. That's ike kupuna. That's how our kupuna was. Before dinner time, yeah, we sit with our grandma and grandpa, yeah, and then everybody eat, and our grandpa and grandma they sit down, they're talking story, and then when everybody pow eat, everybody take the plate to grandma and grandpa, and they divide between the two of them. Ai no la ua I ke koina. He kule ana ke la no la ko I ka maalama ana no na mo opuna. They call that the koina, yeah, the leftover. And my grandma and grandpa, they wait till we all out, and then they gather all the koina, and the two of them, that's what they eat for their dinner or breakfast, whatever. Those are memories. He aloha no kahali alia. Those kinds of memories drive my haku mele abilities. So it velo mauno e ku'uhai Hawaii. That fluttering was the emotion, the memory coming back in my heart. Pili pa ano ikapoli o ko umau kupuna of my grandparents and how maalo no kamoina hali ino lako ke kahikapa high Hawaii, and on the bed they put the quilt out of the high Hawaii. That was their love for the high Hawaii. So we would learn these things long time ago. And before, every year, my kupuna wahine would take me to Moko Keave, and we'd go visit Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, and always with ho'okupu. So that's how the song Poliahu was written, I think 1990, around that time. I never wait for, Kukia Imauna. I was trying to tell our people in 1990, you guys got to pay attention. We have to malama kako. Malama kako iki ia mau. Aku wahine o Mauna Kea o iho i o Poliahu. Waiau, lili noi, ame ka hopo kapu. O ko kako kuli ana ke la. Noho na akua i luna o ke la mauna i ka vau akua. Poliahu i ka hei, lili loi no i ka mano wai. Ame ka vai kau i ke au i luna. O ia no na ino o ki ia mau akua wahine. So I was already telling people back in 1990. But when I went Mauna Kea, nobody went aloha me. And nobody went chant for me. Nobody went doing hula for me. Nobody went do nothing. In fact, I remember when I went up one time to perform to Ha'avi Meki Aloha, I was told, oh, you got to cut your performance short because we got to do protocol now.
Ooh.
Awe ke aloha e. Awe ke aloha e. Pu, even hoi no wau I ka ho'olohe anono o ki ia au o lelo. Oh, ho'opau no I kau mea ho'ike ia ka kou. Finish your performance because we need the time. Oh, okay. Ano hano ino. Ano hano ino. But I never get all that. I never get nothing. The Rock did, but I still waiting for what he gonna do.
Yeah.
I still waiting. Oh, when the kupuna went up, was like, oh, well, there he goes. I was like ghost. Yet my keiki, my mo'opuna was up there cleaning toilets and doing all of that. They all went before me, and then I came after them. Oh, truth is, when I left, they all left. Oh.
Oh.
And this is why I say we gotta start hana with pono, not hana with ho ike. No need show off. Show off for what? What show off going to get us? Hana pono, do things the right way with the order. Not hana pono ole. You gonna recognize one kupuna, you recognize all the kupuna. You're not gonna recognize all the kupuna, then no recognize nobody. But no let one kupuna go up there and then tell them after they went pay for all this trip with their heart, oh, you gotta cut your performance short because we gotta do protocol. So what I realized that day is this. I came for Poliahu that I would write that song for. I came for Waiau. I came for Lilinoy. I came for Kahopokane. Those are my Akua Kupuna. They're in our family genealogy. So I realized then I came for them. So earlier I said when I perform for the Akua. And that was my comfort in my heart because that was strange. But I mahalo ke Akua, I aloha I ke Akua, and mahalo ya kako. Holo ho'iha.
No. Believable. Well, when COVID is finally done, whenever it will end at some point, but whenever it's done, Uncle Charlie's putting on a huge concert on Kauai at the
Oh,
Vidina
here we
Stadium.
go. Here
At
we
the
My
go.
Vidina Stadium, and
my vanana, my vanana, my prophecy.
huh.
2 more years.
Okay, perfect. We can save some money,
2 more
but
years.
this concert is going to be massive, and we would humbly ask you to open and close and perform and do all of that. And I know Charlie. Charlie is like every so often he pulls it out of the hat. Because see, I never forget. And what solidified the concert was when Charlie's wife, Auntie Stephanie, said, "We're doing it." So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and we got all our viewers. One question, real quick. Michael Drake says, "Aloha Kumu. Any word on performing at the Kauai Museum once again? I attended for many years."
I was just on Kauai dancing hula. When are going to come back? Well, we have to look at the situation we're in now. I would love to
Yeah.
come back. I love sharing that kind of hula, that kind of oli, that kind of tradition, because that is true legacy. It came from kupuna to kupuna to kupuna. And now I give to all of my students my keiki. You know, the Kapamanu family of He'eia, Kanuku Kapamanu, is a man that is linked to almost every single hula genealogy in Hawaii. Kanuku Kapamanu. Kanuku Kapamanu's sister, Kihei Kapamanu, who was a chanter for King Kalakaua, married my great great grandpa, George Rowan. The legacy of the Kapamanu family. Now, Kanuku Kapamanu and Kamoku Kapamanu brothers were sent to perform representing Hawaii at the World's Fair. So these were great teachers, and it is that legacy that comes from my grandma, Iva Vahinali'i Rowan, who married my grandpa, Kaayali'i o Liloa Kalare. That is the Ikel, the Maupopo Pono that I bring, and I thank you for having me. Thank you immensely. Mika mahalo nui no ke ia kono e ho'okomo I loko o ki ia polokalamu a la'ua. Thank you for inviting me to this, your program. Ike ia ahi ahi this evening.
Wow. Yeah. We just gonna have to bring you back on one night. And no, it's serious. And you know what? For Talk Story, just for there's a lot of people, including myself, that you just get engrossed in it and want to learn. We want to learn, and I think you're a great teacher.
Oh, mahalo
Sure.
nui loa. Thank you so much.
Genuine. It's real. I think a lot of people recognize that it's just real. It is. And Charlie is. Look at Charlie. I mean, Charlie is usually he's my sensei. He's my mentor. He's my kupuna.
Kai,
He gonna
kai,
slap me. He gonna slap me
mai
after this.
kai,
But
mai kai.
Charlie, what's up, Charlie?
Well, I first would like to extend my deepest appreciation for Kumu coming on tonight, sharing his mana'o,
Mm.
giving. I mean, he was from deep within, letting it come out, and I'm so glad everyone was able to listen and go on that. It's like a journey. Take that journey ride, and see where we are and see where we have to go. Because, like he said, right now our destiny is we have to take control of our destiny because the safety factor doesn't look like they're thinking of our safety. So if we are going to take care of our people, we take care of all. We have to think of safety first, and that's what he's talking about.
Yes.
I do want to share. It was for a reason why Kumu was on with us tonight. As I'm here, I apologize for looking down. There has been 3 incidents that I've been trying to deal with at the Lihue airport of a serious nature. So I apologize to the viewers out there. I'm trying to coordinate with the stakeholders involved. And but I feel good that some of the decisions I've made have been the right ones because we had a great teacher tonight telling us what we need to do. to make things right. And so I just followed that, applied it to my knowledge of what I do know, and I think everything is turning out well. So I first would like to apologize for looking down, and I should have been looking up, but I was listening. and, and I tell you what, yes,
Mahalo.
anytime we can get Kumu Hewitt back on with us, I think we need to do that because we need that revitalization, especially for us Kanakas out there that needs to get back into the mainstream of what it's like to be a Hawaiian. What it's like to be Hawaiian.
Pololoi ke la. Mahalo anui loia kako. Ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui a kako. Love to each and every one of you. Aloha.
Wait. We're gonna ask you, Kumu. We're gonna
Yes.
ask you to take us out in a closing, Ole, if possible. I just want to say before everyone goes, tomorrow night we have Pastor Matt Higa from New Hope, Kauai. He's my pastor. I know all the pastors. How come you never asked me? Because he's my pastor. No offense, but I thought. I mean, tonight was it was just powerful. But tomorrow night, I asked Pastor Matt to come on and kind of break up which Kumu really did tonight, but just to break up the stress part of it and bring us messages of hope and share with us, an hour of gratitude. And so he'll be on tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So thank you, Kumu. I cannot thank you enough. We do want to bring you back on soon to just talk story. Just tell us the legends. Tell us. I was watching a football coach, head coach, college team on the mainland. I forget which one it was, and how he was explaining how he manages his team, about how they only gonna work if they work together as a family. He said everything you said in English. If I was ever a head football coach for a college or NFL, I would bring you to address the team, to teach us the right way. And we appreciate you so much, Kumu. Okay, my friend, take us away, my buddy.
Ola i ka ha, ola i ka vai, ola i ka i, Hawaii, Hawaii, Hawaii. Pake a kalani, papa ka honua, no ka luna ko luna, no ka lalo ko lalo, o hoku kalani ka wahine, haloa ke kalo, haloa ke kanaka, haloa ka koe. O ka pono no ia e, o ka pono o Hawaii ne. And we are the pono. Now let's be the pono. Aloha ahui ho kākou, na ke aloha, na ke akua ka ho'ola, ka ho mai kai, a me ka ho malu no o kākou pakahi a pau. Ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui, ke aloha nui a kākou. Aloha.
Aloha, ahui ho. God bless.